And welcome everyone to wood roof detailing for wind uplift. I have presented this topic before, but this time we have updated the presentation to the 2024 International Building Code and ASCE 722. So hopefully you saw the description out on the website, and that's what brought you here today. So I won't read through the description again. You'll have that in your handouts. But we'll talk just briefly about our learning objectives for today. We're going to identify the code requirements and reference standards that we're going to apply in our example today and the overview that we'll do. Talk about the correct procedures to develop wind loads, and we'll be using the envelope procedure today from ASCE 7. We'll talk about wind loads for main wind force and components and cladding, and then talk about load path and connections for wind uplift. So we'll try and cover all the bases here for wind uplift on low-rise, primarily wood buildings. Obviously, the loads that we talk about today would apply to other buildings as well. But when we get into some of the solutions in terms of prescriptive solutions, we'll look at the wood structural panel provisions in the codes and the standards and the nailing provisions for that, along with some other detailing for load path. There's my contact information. So I'm glad to be a resource for you. As Maria mentioned, I work primarily in the structural areas for the IBC and the IRC. So here's our outline of topics for today. We'll talk first about the building codes and the reference standards that we'll be using for the presentation today. We'll talk then about the ASCE 7 general provisions in Chapter 26. We'll jump into the main wind force resisting system provisions for our example. Take a break. We'll come back and cover components and cladding. And if we have time, there are some resources at the end of the program, but those are really just bonus material for you in the handout. As Maria mentioned, there is an updated handout, so make sure to download that here in the from the portal today. I will tell you why when we get to the slide at the end of the main wind force section. But that table was updated in the IBC, and so I'll let you know what I've found and what I struggled with, quite honestly, to bring you this information today. So first we'll jump into the building code provisions. And if you go to Chapter 16 of the IBC, you'll see 16 different sections, and section 1609 is where we get our wind load provisions. A lot of that is just a reference to the ASCE 7 document, but also in in Chapter 16, we'll see the type of information that's going to be required for your construction documents. And whether you're preparing those construction documents or doing plan review of those construction documents or reading those construction documents in the field, there's some information that's required here per section 1603 to make sure that you have everything you need for proper construction of these buildings. First and foremost is going to be the basic wind speed V. That changed just ever so slightly in the 2022 ASCE 7, so not a lot of major change there, but there is also a conversion to the allowable stress design wind speed, V sub ASD, in case you have documents or material that would require that older VASD wind speed. But pretty much everything else has gone to the ultimate, what's now called basic wind speed. Risk category, we'll talk about that in a little bit. The exposure category, we'll spend some time talking about that. Applicable internal pressure coefficients, we'll also spend some time looking at that. And then the component and cladding pressure zones and dimensions was new, I believe, to the 2021 IBC. And this is excerpted from the ASCE 7 commentary,